our weekly live interview show where Georgia and I feature successful CEOs and professionals who are so kind to share their stories with us. In doing so, we bring awareness, inspiration, and leadership tips for you to action to help you sharpen your competitive advantage and make a positive impact in your organization and community. This week, we are talking strong leadership, meeting customers' needs. So, what images come to mind when you think about strong leadership? I think most of us would have an image of a leader as someone at the front leading the charge, the one in the spotlight who commands the troops, has all the answers, and saves the day, right? But more so when we think of leading in a paramilitary organization, like in private security, I think this might be the image we get. So I invite you to bring whatever image comes to mind of strong leadership as you listen to our guest today, James Devers, the Managing Director of G4S Secure Solutions, to share his views on this topic. If you have questions, you can type them on LinkedIn during the show. And before I bring James on, I invite Georgia to tell us briefly about James's bio and to kick off the conversation.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Emily. Welcome, James. And to our listeners, no, we are not interviewing Hercules when he talks strong leaders. But James is a strong man. And as Emily mentioned, he is a managing director of G4S Secure Solutions. And that's throughout the English speaking Caribbean. James has been around the world, and James has represented different organizations in industries like security and financial services, shipping and logistics, and public accounting. He's a chairman of the American Chamber of Commerce of Trinidad and Tobago's Security Committee and a director of Crime Stoppers in Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados. And James is also a member of the management board of the St. James Police Youth Club. So James is multifaceted. In addition to his responsibilities as a CEO, he also takes on community activities. James went to the Columbia University, and he's a graduate of their business school. So James is a wonderful person to talk to us this morning, Emily, about strong leadership. And strong leadership not in isolation. It goes with meeting your customers' needs. So let's jump right into it, Emily, and let's have that conversation with James. Welcome again, James.
Thank you. Good morning, Emily. Good morning, Georgia. It's fantastic to be here. It's a privilege and an honor. Thank you for the invitation. I'm really going to enjoy this opportunity to be on the Leader's Edge.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
So
how would you like to start off this conversation about strong leadership? Should we dispel some myths around what it is to lead in the paramilitary sense, and then speak to companies? How would you like to?
I think that might be helpful, because a lot of times when people ask me, James, what do you do? And I tell them that I'm in risk management. And they say, risk management? And I said, really, I'm in security risk management. And I think that puts on the light bulb of a lot of leaders, persons in the C-suite within their organizations, because all of us are managing risk as leaders within our organizations. We're trying to mitigate risk so that our investments, our businesses, our operations can continue to run. So oftentimes when I'm looking at and speaking to leaders within organizations, I say that, you're really trying to manage two forms of risk. I'm trying to help you. G4S is trying to help you mitigate and manage two forms of risk within your organization. One is your risk on your investment. You've invested in your business, whether it's in your people, whether it's in your equipment, whether it's in your assets, and how do you protect that? How do you protect those? How do you ensure you get that return on investment, or ROI? So we're all focused on. So through security and security risk management, we help to mitigate that and ensure that leaders are able to get that ROI. And secondly, when I look at risk management, I'm speaking to leaders, I look at it in terms of business continuity. What could interrupt your operations? What event, what action, what breach could affect and cause your BCP, or your business continuity plan, to kick in? So when I look at that, and I present that to leaders, then they see security risk management, or security, as an investment rather than a cost or an expense. Because it's something that ensures that it maintains their operations, whether it's their return on investment or just the continuity of their business in these changing times, and every day when leaders go into their organizations, every day is a new event. So you want to have that peace of mind that you have a partner that's going to ensure that your operations continue and can mitigate any unexpected events within your organization, your business. So that, when I look at it, rather than saying security, I find that sometimes that helps people understand what G4S does and what I do.
Yes, yes. It makes a lot
That's a
of
nice way.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes sense. I mean, I think it's much more engaging and in terms of thinking of security as risk management, because I think, as you said, most times when before having this conversation with you, I would have thought security is a cost. It's
Mm-hmm.
the cost of doing business because, of course, we need to secure premises and so on. But thinking of it in the context of managing risk, that's a good way of looking at it from a holistic point of view. So,
Mhm.
so that is looking, I suppose, at the external customer needs. When you think
Mm-hmm.
and you say, we're trying to link that back to the strong leadership context. So
Yeah.
when you think of it from the internal customer, how do you reckon putting that leadership
Mm-hmm.
tone in it? Because again, leading and ensuring that we have the risks managed is really important. Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, how would you put that in now in terms of getting your organization of what, 2,000 strong? So it's like a
Yes.
huge organization with all different levels of people, staff from I guess from O levels, just secondary school education, all the way up. Like how do you what kind of leadership tools or skills do you use in that context? Is it different? I'm curious. Would you think it's different in this organization versus others?
Well, no,
Let's say
thanks,
you look
Emily. I
at
think, Emily,
a
one
group.
thing you said, which I often say when I have team meetings, is that we have external customers and we have internal customers. And I was speaking first about our external customers, but our internal customers, our internal teams are critical to our organizational success. So, in terms of leading a group across five countries within the English Caribbean, which is Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Lucia, Grenada, and Antigua, and a broad spectrum of backgrounds and experiences, as well as we are a service organization. So, we don't manufacture, we don't necessarily produce any physical products. We're providing a service. So our most valuable asset are our teams and our people. So
Mhm.
it's really critical that in an organization of this nature, when you're leading, it's a lot about motivation, encouragement, coaching, um, and engagement. And the engagement is very, very important because working in an organization, in a service organization such as ours, that can be risky at times. You always want to ensure that you're fully engaged and you fully understand the concerns of your team and address their needs. So it
Mhm.
falls into that area of servant leadership. What can I do? What can our leaders do to ensure that you have the equipment, the policies, the procedures all in place so that you can perform your duties and also mitigate your risk as well? Because I was speaking of risks to my external customers, but I also have to look at the risk to my internal customers because what we do, we sometimes can be in harm's way because we're providing security and we're protecting our external customers' needs. So my goal is to always ensure that everyone reaches home safe and sound. So,
Mhm.
in terms of that engagement, some of the tools we use is, I think, reward and recognition is critical to
Mhm.
motivation, to encouragement, not only acknowledging team members who have gone above and beyond the call of duty, but also to encourage those that may have not been acknowledged. As we have a program called our G4S values, and we call them values champions and values ambassadors. And every quarter we identify team members who have gone above and beyond the call of duty and have been called out and acknowledged by whether it's an external customer by doing something really exceptional or internal customers. And that R&R, and I'm not saying rest and relaxation, but reward and recognition
Yes.
is so important in terms of keeping your teams motivated, keeping them encouraged. So I think that's a key part of
Yes.
leadership. And another part is engagement. What can we do to engage our team members in? And what we have an employment engagement survey that we do every 2 years. And it's actually a global survey of roughly, because G4S, which is part of the Allied Universal Group, we're about 850,000 employees globally. So we're the largest integrated security provider in the world. And every 2 years, we do an employee engagement survey of all of our employees. And that is a really helpful tool for us to really get a sense of what we're doing right and what we may be needing to improve on, and maybe areas of weakness. And in that survey, which we've done every 2, we've seen where, whether it's engagement, whether it's helping the team know what direction, what is our strategy, what are our goals, what are our objectives for the year. And when you have a team of 2,000, we have to ensure that we break that down in a way that all levels within the organization can understand it. But that employee engagement survey helps us to better engage. And through that engagement, it helps in terms of motivating, coaching, encouraging, sometimes having the discipline, but really knowing where your team is and what are their challenges, what are their concerns, as where they see we're doing well helps in being a leader of a diverse organization.
James, you know, listening to you, you've taken me back to what Dr. Kirsten Ferguson, she has a book called Leading with the Head and the Heart. And what you were just talking about a while ago was just that, because when you're leading with your head, you're talking about getting the job done and you're making sure that you are meeting the customer's needs. But you also spoke to us, and Emily, I'm sure you heard it, you know, leading from the heart when he's talking about engagement and making sure that the people are comfortable and so on. But you are the head honcho, you're one person. How do you get the rest of your leaders on board doing just that, leading not only with their head, but also with their heart?
Well, I would say that it involves the same type of engagement. So in terms of, one, in terms of our G4S brand, ambassadors, values ambassadors program, what we do is we have them nominate their team members, reward them, acknowledge them, encourage them. And that's one way of rewarding them. They also have team meetings as well. And those team meetings are an opportunity for them to ensure that their teams are taken care of. One of the things that I encourage every meeting is that we look at one of our values. We have 7 values, and our 7 values are our guiding principles. And oftentimes companies have their values on the wall. They may be the footer in your email. But what I encourage our team is look at just one of our values, whether it's integrity or it's teamwork. How can you incorporate that into your daily activities for the day? What can you do to apply that? And that helps a lot in keeping us centered in terms of understanding. And we say, if you can just apply one of our values for the day, you will get better. But it's also me motivating my leaders as well. Having regular team meetings, ensuring that the goals and objectives that we've set for the year are clearly understood, accepted, and that also making myself available to them and participating in their meetings, providing guidance, providing assistance where needed. But I have a great leadership team. I mean, I have a great team throughout the region. And they're amazing in terms of their ability to be able to deliver on our targets and our objectives, be engaged. Because like I said, we're in the people business. We are in the people business. So our teams are our most valuable asset. So it is critical that we meet their needs, meet their requirements, and keep them encouraged in challenging times. I mean, not in Tobago and other parts of the region, unfortunately, crime and criminality is increasing. And that's an obvious concern of our team members. So we have to ensure that we have made the investments in equipment. We have to reinforce our standard operating procedures to ensure that they're safe, they're secure, and they understand why we have our SOPs. And because sometimes you can tell someone to do something, but you have to tell them the why.
That's it.
The why is so important, because then once they know the why, then they better understand and will adhere and will align with what you're doing, versus just saying you have to do this because I'm telling you to do it. That doesn't work in leadership.
Right. I appreciate that. Thanks, James.
You're welcome.
So many nuggets, Georgia.
Yes.
I'm noticing our time. So James, the last thing you said was alignment, having the alignment, having people understand the why that we, we have these procedures, especially these days in the business that you are in, securing people And you say you're in the people business, but you're in the risk business with people, and you want to make sure everyone gets home safe, and that includes all of your people as well as everyone else that you all serve, right? So
Yeah.
those are big responsibilities right there when you think of the environment. So alignment, engagement. I like the idea of what you mentioned with using the values, Georgia, like
Yes.
in the
Yes.
team meetings, because yes, a lot of times when I talk to people, values, we have them up on the wall, as you say,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in a document, but we are not living those values, so they're not real.
Right.
The organization, they're not something that everybody understands, and just because they are words, sometimes we don't understand the behaviors behind those words. So talking about those values regularly and making sure that everybody understands what we mean by integrity, what we mean by teamwork,
Mm-hmm.
in this culture, this is what we mean. So I think that really helps to keep everyone, on the same page. So good stuff. So strong leadership, customer needs.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. And we got some practical tips.
I hope
Yes.
so. No, I mean
Yes.
it's I feel like I'm privileged. It's an honor to be able to lead an organization like G4S. But with that privilege, there's an obligation.
Right.
Much is given, much is expected. So as a
Yes.
result, you have to acknowledge and accept that there is a responsibility because you're supporting not only 2,000 team members, but then many of them have families. They have people who they're supporting. So when
Right.
you really expand that, it's a much larger
Mm-hmm.
population of people.
Right.
So I take that seriously, and I hope that this morning we've been able to, as you said, mention a few nuggets that people can utilize in leading their organizations, and they can continue to be successful.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you, James.
Thank
You're
you,
most
James.
welcome.
This has been
Yeah.
wonderful.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you for this opportunity. Leaders Edge is something that's growing and developing, and I think it's touching a lot of lives. And I commend you both.
Wonderful. Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
You're most
All
welcome.
right. Have a great day,
You
everyone.
too.
Take
Take
care,
care.
everyone. Have a great
Thank
week.
you.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.